I'd like to welcome y'all on behalf of Stepping Stone Child Advocacy and the Exchange Club. Welcome to the 2023 Child Abuse Prevention Luncheon. Your presence here today shows that you are choosing to be part of the solution to this epidemic that affects 1 in 5 of our children. Stepping Stone has been serving victims in this community for 24 years. This past year, we provided support groups for adolescents and adults, individual counseling, parent education, tutoring, educational programs, forensic interviews, medical exams, and legal advocacy. We also expanded this year to meet the needs of our 10-county service area by opening a satellite office in Eastman. Thank you to those of you who have worked tirelessly alongside us to help our children. Law enforcement, social workers, teachers, counselors, DFACs, DJJ, and community members. You have made a difference in the life of a child. Thank you to Emily Brookshire, who worked countless hours to plan this luncheon so that others can see the difference Stepping Stone is making in our community. Macy, Madison, Courtney, Anthea, Dawn Lane, our newest sexual assault nurse, and our 3 interns, Jasmine, Megan, and Rebecca, work every day to provide services to children and families. Children should not be expected to protect themselves. That is our responsibilities. One of the ways you can do that is by checking out the family profile displays. Stepping Stone served over 221 children who were victims of physical, sexual abuse, witness to a violent crime, without charging anyone a penny. The average cost of a child coming through Stepping Stone is about $5,000. So those of you that are good at math can do that. 221 children, $5,000 a child. Our display depicts 5 current families and clients of Stepping Stone whose names have been changed to protect their confidentiality. Each profile details what brought them to Stepping Stone, what crisis intervention they received, and the services that we have provided them in a year. The display helps you know a little about the purpose of these services and the cost that goes into supporting each of our clients. Those profiles are located right behind me. As you listen and participate in our program today, consider donating $5 and become a friend of Stepping Stone, $20 to one of the flower pots that you see on your table, or any other amount you choose to support our services. We will continue to fight for justice and healing for those children and adults affected by child abuse and sexual assault. Thank you for coming today.
It's planting season at Roach Farm and Garden. Plant your fruit trees now. Roach Farm and Garden has fruit trees as low as $32.99. Blueberry bushes, winter veggies, even have some seed potatoes left. Don't wait for them weeds to come up. Spray now for them summer weeds. Soil test, soil test, soil test. Bring your results by and we will get you exactly what you need. From lime to fertilizer and all to weed prevention. Roach Farm and Garden will carry it all. If you priced eggs lately, Roach Farm and Garden has brooders, pens, waters, and feeders. Roach Farm and Garden has rabbits, chicks coming soon. Go ahead and stock up on feed. At Roach Farm and Garden, we have feed for just about everything. Is hunting season really ever over? The answer is no. Roach Farm and Garden has boss bug feeders, a huge selection of deer feed, salt blocks, and trophy rock. Remember, do it right, do it smart. Roach Farm and Garden, 2 locations, Dublin and Wrightsville.
Allen's Heating and Cooling is your licensed Amana equipment dealer. Trust Allen's Heating and Cooling to install and service your heating and air conditioning unit. Allen services all brands, and with the purchase of a new unit, Amana offers a lifetime compressor warranty. Sean Clark or any of his friendly staff can help you today at Allen's Heating and Cooling. Your Amana dealer. Amana, last and last and last.
Thank you so much for coming to our luncheon and most importantly showing up for your community every single day. I just wanted to take a few moments to introduce one of our speakers. I have had the pleasure of knowing Elizabeth Savage for what seems like my whole entire life. We have watched each other grow into who we are today, and I can proudly say that I would not be who I am without her. We have walked by each other's side through many highs and lows, but I think that we can both agree that we are so incredibly proud of the women that we have become. Elizabeth is an advocate at the Crisis Line and Safe House in Macon, Georgia, and she received her bachelor's degree in psychology from Middle Georgia State and is working towards obtaining her master's degree in social work to continue advocating for social justice. If that's not already enough, Elizabeth is a certified yoga teacher and serves as the board secretary for Storytellers in Macon, Georgia. Elizabeth has already touched and changed so many lives, including mine, for the better, and there is no doubt in my mind that she will continue to do so. Elizabeth, thank you so much for being here today and for sharing your story. Everyone, please help me welcome my very best friend, Elizabeth Savage.
Good afternoon, community members, social workers, friends, family, advocates, and with most reverence, survivors of childhood abuse. I'm Elizabeth Savage. I'm 25 years old, and I am a survivor of childhood sexual abuse. I am deeply moved to be able to share my story with each of you today. Thank you to Courtney, Lamb, LMSW, and the rest of Stepping Stone advocates for making this event possible. This incredible staff works tirelessly to lessen the experience of trauma, provide a safe space for all survivors, and encourage collaborative services for victims and non-offending family members. Thank you, Courtney Lamb, for providing me with a safe space to share my story and for empowering me to live life more fully than I ever have. I would also like to thank victim advocate Madison Bloodworth for referring me to Stepping Stone. Without your passion to help those who've been abused, I would not be where I am today. There are millions of child abuse survivors within the United States. Many never get a chance to tell their story and heal from their abuse. Before I share my story, I'd like to take a moment of silence for those who've not had the opportunity to share their story with anyone. May the space we create for unspoken survivors one day give them the strength to speak their truth. Before I was sexually abused, I was a confident, outspoken little advocate for any injustice that I felt needed addressing. At the age of 8, I felt so strong, resilient, and very happy. I lived on Lake Sinclair in Eatonton with 2 of my older siblings, John and Walker. My mom remarried only 2 years prior to my abuse, and this house with our new stepdad became the place I know as home. Life wasn't perfect, though. My eldest siblings had witnessed my mom go through 2 divorces. We felt her pain from those past relationships and a traumatic childhood of her own. My mom wanted, more than anything, for her children to not experience the life she had. Already having 1 child, my sister, and the eldest of her children leave home to live with her dad, my mom was terrified of losing her other children, and she would protect them at all costs, even if that meant neglecting some of her other children's needs, care that I would soon need. I think I got it. When my older brother Walker was 14 years old and I was only 9 years old, he sexually abused me 3 times. During the first encounter, Walker tried to trick me into believing that there was a bone in his penis by telling me to feel it. When he finished, he told me that if I kept it a secret, he would show me another trick. I remember feeling confused after this encounter. Walker had never been interested in anything to do with me. In fact, he was one of my first bullies. He called me derogatory names on a regular basis and frequently harassed and physically assaulted my older brother John and me. After the first time he abused me, before I even knew it was abuse, I questioned why he had been so nice to me for the first time in my life. During the second encounter, Walker had me perform masochistic acts against him. He had me tie him to my bed with my scarves and draw cuss words on his chest and my children's lipsticks. Afterward, he touched me inappropriately by grabbing me by the butt so hard he lifted me up off the ground. I knew at that moment there was something terribly wrong with these encounters. Our mom called us downstairs. We exited my room, and I asked him if we should tell Mom. He got down to eye level and told me, "Do not tell Mom or we will both get in trouble." I was terrified. I didn't know what it meant to be a victim, but I remember feeling violated that he had touched my bottom like that. I was angry and disgusted. During the third encounter, Walker tried to take a bath with me in the bathroom attached to my other brother's room. I don't remember if my other brother was in his room, but I felt like he could come in at any moment and I would get in trouble, or that he would think I was disgusting. I stood by the bathroom door, hand hovering over the doorknob as Walker coaxed me to take off my clothes and get in the tub with him. I told him we were too big. My brothers and I hadn't taken baths together in years. And I remember seeing him sitting in the tub naked. He held his arms out, trying to get me to get in with him. He told me I could sit on top of him. I listened and came over, but before I sat all the way down, I felt his private area begin to enter me. I hopped away and out of the bathroom. I ran to my room and hid under my covers. I was so scared. I didn't know what sex was. I didn't know until last year that physical contact in the tub is by definition rape. He tried to rape me. Some would say that he did. That encounter was so short, and by that point, I knew something was horribly wrong. Something horribly wrong was happening, but I didn't know until I was 24 how much things had truly escalated. I look back on that time now different than when I lived it. I felt that my mind and body had been ruined, but I was so ashamed and partly blamed myself. Looking back now, I can't imagine blaming something like that on a 9-year-old. My heart absolutely breaks for the little girl whose older brother molested her. Walker was not able to abuse me a fourth time, but the damage was done. Within the same year, he moved in with his dad. Before the abuse, I wanted to keep peace in my family. I remember a night when Mom bought drive-through food for us all. Walker and I were sitting in the back seat, and he was brooding. I tried to let him have some of my drink, and he dropped it out the window. Facial expression unchanging. No amount of chastising fazed him. I hurt for him then, but after the abuse, I was not upset that he was gone. Mentally, I was somewhere between numbness and feeling almost safe for the first time in nearly a year. My mom slipped into a depression that I had truly never seen before. One day, when I was only 10, I asked her what was wrong, and she said that she missed Walker. Walker had threatened to call DFACS on our mom before he left, claiming she had a drinking problem. Later, while I was in high school, I found countless empty wine bottles hidden in the closet of Walker's old room. On that day, I confronted Mom about her feelings about Walker being gone, and I told her I was not upset that he didn't live there anymore. I knew she did not fully understand why I felt this way. I explained what had taken place between Walker and me in detail. I was not aware I was sexually abused at the time. Mom was horrified, and I began to console her more than she consoled me. Later, she asked me not to tell anyone, including my older brother or my stepdad, because they would kill him. Mom told me, 10-year-old Elizabeth, if we report this, an agent will take you away from me. Do you want that to happen? I was terrified. Of course not. She asked me if I wanted to talk to anyone about it, but I was so afraid of being taken away from my family and breaking my mom's heart further that I said no. My sexual abuse was never reported. No forensic interview was conducted, and we pretended like it didn't happen. When I was about 13, Walker moved back to Eatonton, where my family lived. My mom asked me if I felt comfortable letting Walker back in the house. I thought long and told her I did not feel comfortable, and she and my stepdad agreed to move him into a trailer in Milledgeville. He was 18, trying to graduate high school from an alternative school, and he came around often. I felt the need to pretend I was more than fine to keep the peace, something my mom felt so close to having with her son home again. I poured myself into extracurriculars to get away from home, but the toll he took on my mom again was undeniable. She went to great lengths to help him, but he took advantage of the freedom my mom and stepdad had given him, and when he was told to move out of the trailer, we didn't see him again for years. I finally saw a counselor when I was 15 after I stopped having a period because I developed an eating disorder as a result of low self-esteem and depression. I had one session with the counselor. I told her about the abuse, and she advised my mom and me to speak to a professional who specializes in child sexual assault. My mom was annoyed, and she asked me, "It's your choice, but do you really want to come back here?" She had driven me to Greensboro, nearly an hour away, for this appointment. In hindsight, I wonder if she picked a therapist so far away that the secret of my abuse would not become gossip around town. I could feel her anxious energy, so I said, "It's okay, we don't have to come back." She was so relieved. I turned to drugs by the time I was 16. I began thinking I needed serious mental health treatment when I was 17. I told my dad I needed help over the phone on Thanksgiving, my senior year of high school. He called my mom, and shortly after, my mom and siblings yelled at me and told me I ruined the holiday. Coerced by shame and low self-worth, I lost control of my life, and when I left for college, substance use took a hold of me. I never returned home for more than a night, and I spent most of my time at friends' house when I came home, or when I was in town. As a young adult, I found myself in an abusive relationship with a partner addicted to substances like I was. I did not have the strength to leave him for nearly 3 years. However, in August of 2021, I left the relationship for good. 2 weeks later, I became sober, and I've passed 19 months of sobriety as of April 2023. A couple of months after I took control of my life, I began seeing Courtney Lamb at Stepping Stone in Dublin, Georgia. 6 months after starting therapy with Stepping Stone, I finished my Bachelor of Science in Psychology, and I became the first woman in my mom's family to earn a college degree. I got to hear my mom tell me how proud of me she was, and what meant even more was that she didn't worry about me anymore. She didn't have to, because I was finally brave enough to take care of myself. To my surprise, however, my story didn't end there. On the day that I graduated from college at Middle Georgia State University, my sister informed me Walker was back with his 2 young children, and he was looking for help to obtain custody of them. This story between him and the mother of his children is so disheartening. I pray those children are too young to remember the first few years of their lives, and that Walker can be the dad he and my mother advocated he could be. I was notified on that day, in the midst of my brother's custody battle, of a CPS case filed against him for allegedly abusing his 1.5-year-old daughter. We may never know if the allegations are true, but at the time, I was terrified for my niece, so I testified against my brother. I never expected to share my story in court or in front of him, but I stepped up when I thought I could stop him from hurting somebody else. I told my story to a judge, multiple lawyers, a stenographer, Walker's in-laws, his father, and him, as I share it with you today. I was cross-examined too, and information about me that only my mother would know was used against me in that hearing. I did not flinch, though. I know what happened, and no amount of shame or victim blaming can change that. I also know I can't completely protect my loved ones from experiencing complex trauma like mine, just like my mom couldn't have completely protected me. My testimony alone may have made a small difference in Walker's children's lives that day, but I hope my testimony is unforgettable to those children's other family members. And if any more alleged abuse becomes known within that household, no one will hesitate to take action and hold him accountable. My brother's hearing last year changed my family dynamic irreversibly. My sister ceased having a relationship altogether with my mom, and I contemplated cutting my mother off as well. I don't know why, but I decided against it. My mother and I shared very few conversations from June of 2022 until this past fall. I told her I needed to go to therapy with her or our relationship would never be the same. She had no idea why I was even upset. But she told me, whatever it is you need, I will do it. Just say the word. We had an appointment scheduled with Courtney multiple times, and she canceled many of them. One time, she just didn't show up. Not long after, I started my new job at Crisis Line and Safe House, and I had to switch to telehealth appointments for individual therapy. My mom and I never got to work through how much she hurt me by choosing to help Walker over me. Because on November 29th, 2022, my mother passed away prematurely at the age of 50. Cause of death, complications from chronic alcoholism and heart disease. Losing our mom like this has been devastating for our family. Part of me has wanted to bury every desire I've ever had to speak about what I've been through. I love my mom, and I will miss her for the rest of my life. I choose to believe that she and I would have worked through our issues if she had more time here. I am so grateful to be a client of Stepping Stone. I would not be in a place where I could have testified, lose my mother, and shared these words with you today without their help. Courtney Lamb has made it possible for me to not carry the weight of my trauma alone. When we started therapy, she physically drew out a timeline of my life as I talked about it. We laugh about it because no room is wide enough to roll out these taped together sheets of paper. She listened to my entire life story, no event too small to discuss. I now know I remembered so much of my childhood as a traumatic response to never truly being listened to by my mom. I held on to my unprocessed truth, hoping somebody could help me sort out once and for all if my suffering is totally my fault. Am I really that selfish? Or did I just never get the help I truly needed? I can see more gray in life now rather than in black and white. And I give myself permission to have big feelings, and I value myself enough to learn from what my mind and my body are telling me, something that survivors tend to stop doing to cope with their traumatic experiences. Courtney has witnessed so many ups and downs in my life since she became my therapist. She's made me feel safe and to speak freely. I'm so lucky to have someone like her to help me face my reality and reinforce my right to decide what is best for me. If I could go back in time, and if I knew of a place like Stepping Stone, I would have wanted to go there. I think I would have been relieved to hear other adults agree that what Walker did was wrong. With the help of a forensic interview, I don't think Walker would have been able to hurt someone again, and I never would have had to testify against him to protect somebody else. I would have had to see my mom fall apart between having her skeletons out on display and the uncertainty if she would have maintained custody of each of us. But if there had been a way for me to get the help that I needed and stay in the house with Mom, my stepdad, and my brother John, I would have been able to live a full life again sooner. If I had therapy shortly after the abuse, I would have been able to spot abusive signs in my later romantic relationships. My relationship with sex, men, and women wouldn't be as complicated as it is today. I would be able to trust people better and feel more comfortable with any form of intimacy. I would not have gone through middle and high school with such low self-worth. I wouldn't have felt like I needed to hide from others. I would have continued to shamelessly speak out like I did before I was abused. I wouldn't struggle with anger, anxiety, and depression like I do today. And despite having found a voice again, I know if I had help from a place like Stepping Stone when I was still very young, I wouldn't have lost it in the first place. I could have enjoyed my childhood more knowing it wasn't my fault, and I think I could be enjoying life even more now. A child advocacy center like Stepping Stone could have helped me achieve each of these goals sooner through their mental health, clinical, and legal services. I may not have found them until I was an adult, but I am still so grateful to be under their care. I am a part of an adult survivor group as well. We've been meeting nearly every week for almost a year, and it has been so eye-opening. I feel perhaps for the first time in my life that a lot of the things I hated about myself are consequences of my trauma. I am learning to recognize that and giving myself the grace to feel the pain that I wasn't taught to acknowledge and then let it go. I hope by hearing these words today, you can see your power to change others' lives in the work you do. Stepping Stone is a vital resource to the communities they serve. From legal services to mental health help, their advocates are equipped to carry out justice and treat their clients with the utmost care. As you leave here today, I hope you feel steadfast in the line of work that has brought us all together here today. Whether you are an advocate, agent, survivor, or family member, the role you play in the lives of those who need justice and vindication the most is crucial to survivors' well-being. Thank you for stepping up to do this work. I hope every victim of abuse gets to say confidently that they aren't just a victim. They are survivors. If you're one here today, whether we talk or not, I feel you. I stand with you. We all do. Thank you again to Stepping Stone for making today happen. Thank you for having me. Enjoy the rest of your time here at this luncheon. Thank you.
Badcock Home Furniture and More is your home store. where you'll find great savings on new living room sets, sofas, love seats, recliners, and more. Badcock Home Furniture and More has great savings every day on bedding and bedroom sets. Shop Badcock Home Furniture and More for a great selection of dining room sets. And save every day on electronics and appliances at Badcock Home Furniture and More, 1927 Highway 441 South in Dublin. Call 275-3144 for more information, or stop by and see Wendy and Tim Sumner or any of their friendly staff today at Badcock and More Home Furniture Store, where no credit is ever refused.
My name is Phil Patel. I am one of the part owners here and the general manager here at the Hampton Inn & Suites. First time when I got introduced to Morris Bank, the people were so friendly and helpful. You feel like that you are appreciated there. At Morris Bank, everybody down at the bank is so friendly, and not just to myself, they're just friendly to everybody. They want us to succeed because our success is their success at the same time. That makes a lot of difference, and they're always there for us.
The rest of the program doesn't get much easier, but it reminded me when she was talking that's what Stepping Stone does every day, helping people deal with the traumas of some sort of violation. I'm Kelly Kennedy. I'm the chairman of the Child Abuse Prevention Committee of the Exchange Club and the ACE Award. So get comfortable if you need to, move around a little bit. The Exchange Club of Dublin is an active partner with our national administration and with our local agencies to support the prevention and to increase awareness of all forms of child abuse. Throughout the year, we provide material to our local schools and to our community to promote these goals. We also sponsor members of law enforcement and child service agencies to attend training specific to the cause of child abuse prevention. Today we have a very special visitor representing the winning essay of the 2023 Exchange Club Child Abuse Prevention Essay Scholarship Contest. The goal of the essay contest is to encourage students to take an interest in the issues related to child abuse prevention by doing the necessary research to compose a quality essay based on a theme presented by the Child Abuse Prevention Committee. This year's theme was Adverse Childhood Experiences, or they're called ACEs, Detection, Prevention, and Intervention. This year's essay contest had 14 entries from the 4 local high schools. The students were required to write an essay of not less than 500 words using proper format and citing references. The winning essay will be used for various publications in conjunction with our Child Abuse Prevention Awareness Campaign. There's no identifying information allowed on the essay, and the committee has no way of knowing the name of the student or school represented until all scores are totaled. The Child Abuse Prevention Committee is composed of Brad Skeeters, Eric Hornick, Jimmy Williams, Ryan Dixon, John Mark Butler, and myself. We also have 2 guest readers, Anthea Poulton, she's the SANE nurse for Stepping Stone, and Cindy Claxton of Dublin City Schools District Reading Coordinator. The 2023 Exchange Club Child Abuse Prevention Essay Scholarship Contest winner and the recipient of $1,000 is Jelana Smith of Dublin High School. So Jelana, if you would please come forward to share your essay.
Good morning. The title of this essay is Adverse Childhood Experience, ACEs, Detection, Prevention, and Intervention. Adverse childhood experiences, also known as ACEs, are traumatic experiences that affect an individual in childhood. They are often caused by poverty, lack of a loving environment, and lack of safe and stable relationships. Today, more than half of adults have been subject to adverse childhood experiences, ACEs, with a staggering 61% of adults across 25 states have experienced at least one ACE, per the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC. Due to ACEs, many can experience long-lasting health effects that may result in cancer, diabetes, and heart disease. Because of ACEs, affected adults are most likely to struggle in education due to their negative impact and have a harder time than their peers with job opportunities. Additionally, it can increase one's risk of suicide, which is 10 to 12 times more likely for individuals who experience more ACEs per the Early Childhood Learning and Knowledge Center. As a result, it is crucial as a society to be aware of how to detect ACEs early, how to prevent them, and to start the course of intervention for our children as they grow into adulthood. The first step in stopping the effect of adverse childhood experiences is detection. Moreover, the main part of detection is adolescence is determining if they are at risk. Per the CDC, there are two main categories of risk for ACEs: individual and family risk factors and community risk factors. The first category, individual and family risk factors, are risks that are associated with an individual's social experiences and what they are subjected to at home. The risk factors for the first category include families with adults with low levels of education, children with friends who engage in delinquent behavior, youth engaging in dating/sexual activity at an early age, and families with attitudes accepting or justifying violence or aggression. The second category, community risk factors, are risks that affect the community in which one lives. The risk factors for this category include communities with high crime and violence rates, few youth activities in the community, families with constant food insecurity, and community-high unemployment rates. Furthermore, if a child were to experience one or more factors from or even both categories, they are at various amounts of risk for developing ACEs. By determining if an individual is subject to one or more of these factors, we will be well on to moving on to the next step of limiting ACEs in society. After detection, the next step is prevention. In the mission of limiting ACEs in society, detection and prevention go hand in hand. Although prevention has the same two main categories as detection, their contents are positive instead of negative. For the first category, the risk factors are reversed and turned to their positive form, prevention factors. Category 1's prevention factors include families with college degrees or higher, families that encourage the importance of education, children with positive friendships, a safe familial environment, and children with parental monitoring rules and regulations. Next, the second category includes low violence in the community, families with food security, activities available for the youth, and high employment rates. As a result of using prevention methods against ACEs, society can move on to the next and last step of limiting ACEs. The third and decisive step in limiting ACEs is intervention. Since it is sometimes almost impossible to stop a child from developing ACE with successful detection and prevention, there are ways to intervene before the child's development takes a turn for the worse. By implementing victim-centered services, treatment for problem behavior, and violence prevention, and enhanced primary care, children and adults affected by ACEs can be on the path to recovery. Traumatic experience recovery is never linear and can take months or years to have a semblance of recovery. However, with the proper techniques and treatments, things like adverse childhood experiences can be helped and limited. With the three steps, detection, prevention, and intervention, children and adults affected or at risk of ACEs can be on the path to recovery. Thus, ACEs will be limited in society once and for all. Thank you.
From humble beginnings with a desire to serve the Dudley community, Bank of Dudley has grown to 5 locations, serving Lawrence, Twiggs, and surrounding counties. Serving our community since 1905, the Bank of Dudley is looking forward to its 2nd century of community banking. Drop in today to any of our 5 locations: Jeffersonville, Dudley, East Dublin, Veterans Boulevard, and downtown Dublin. Bank of Dudley, member FDIC, and an equal housing lender. MedFirst is committed to service and quality care. Located on Hillcrest Parkway near Fairview Park Hospital, we're built on the philosophy of continually providing new and effective services to meet the healthcare needs of the communities we serve. We have a complete inventory of all the latest in-home medical equipment and appliances. Also, the latest technology in seat lift chairs is displayed in one of the largest medical showrooms anywhere. MedFirst has become a leader in sleep therapy in the Middle Georgia area as well as home respiratory services. We have staff on call to help you at any time, so call us day or night, 478-274-1900, or come by and see us at 1204 Hillcrest Parkway.
The ACE Award, which stands for Accepting the Challenge of Excellence, recognizes students who have made dramatic changes in their attitude and performance sometime in their high school years and have overcome significant circumstances to beat the odds and are now eligible for graduation. This type of student may have never received any type of positive recognition for their success in overcoming the odds of their circumstances. Recognition of a well-deserving youth could have an impact on his or her future. The ACE Award committee members are Jeff Bruton, John Mark Butler, Lucas Cowart, and myself. Each local high school can submit one nominee as their ACE winning representative. Each nominee certainly is deserving of this recognition. The 2023 ACE winners are Niona Mills of Dublin High School. Niona, if you'll stand. Caitlin Dukowski of Trinity Christian School. Russell Graham, West Lawrence High School. And Destiny Pruitt of East Lawrence High School. Y'all can be seated. Naomi and Caitlin will each receive a $500 scholarship award for being their respective school's nominee. The committee has made an unprecedented decision this year to select two representatives from the nominees as the 2023 Georgia District level nominees. We have decided to refer both Russell Graham of West Lawrence High School and Destiny Pruitt of East Lawrence High School. Their stories are uniquely different, yet significantly worthy of this recognition. Each will receive a $1,000 scholarship. We will not be able to read each of the narratives submitted by the nominees as their school's representative. Suffice it to say that these students represent the very essence of Romans 5:3-5. Not only so, but we also rejoice in our undeserved sufferings, because we know that suffering produces perseverance. Perseverance produces character, and character produces hope. And this hope, based not in wishful thinking, but in a promise poured into our hearts by God, will never, never disappoint us. At this time, John Mark Butler will share the story of Russell Graham, and Lucas Cowart will follow with the story of Destiny Pruitt's life. Each story will explain the true meaning of accepting the challenge of excellence.
So Emily, the last time I did this narrative about 2 years ago, I didn't make it through it without crying. So these are very tough to read and very touching. So Russell Graham. Since a young age, Russell Graham has been faced with many challenges. At age 8, his parents divorced due to his father's mental health and alcohol addiction issues. When he was 13, his mother married the man he would call his stepfather. It wasn't long into this relationship that physical and emotional abuse began to arise from the stepfather toward his mother. After a few years, his mother had had enough and decided to proceed with ending their marriage. At age 16, the worst of the domestic violence events began to unfold. During the cold, rainy night of February 7th, 2022, Russell was awakened by his stepfather breaking into his house. Soon after, he began to hear gunshots. He stepped out of his bedroom to find that his mother had been shot. He began to wrestle with his stepfather. During the scuffle and in his attempt to escape, Russell was shot 8 times in the chest, the shoulder, the thigh, and his heel. He was able to get out of the house, stumbling over a fence while running to a neighbor's house in the dark. He began pounding on their house and screaming for help. He was somewhat comforted when he could hear them talking to the law enforcement. While looking back at his house, he could see the image of his stepfather leaving as smoke began to billow out of his house. His stepfather had set his house on fire with his mother and dog inside. The fireman arrived in time to put the fire out while he was being stabilized by medics. He was quickly taken to Fairview Park Hospital and was later transferred to Atrium Health Navicent Hospital in Macon. He later learned that his mother had died from the gunshot wounds. While in Navicent Hospital, he had to be treated for a collapsed lung, broken ribs, and a fractured scapula, and the remaining damage from the gunshot wounds. He amazed the physical therapist when he was able to get out of bed and walk on his own only after 2 days. Because of his attitude that nothing is impossible, Russell was released from the hospital in less than 2 weeks. He returned to Lawrence County to live with an older brother and continue with his physical and mental health recovery while slowly integrating back into his school routine. If things weren't bad enough, Russell's biological father died in June from chronic health complications. This was a devastating loss. Russell says, "My parents have always played a crucial role in my life. My mom was my best friend, and my dad was one of my biggest supporters, always in my corner no matter what." Russell credits his continued recovery to his athletic coaches, his family and friends, therapists, and with a special mention about the support of his teacher, Miss Jenny Green. Russell was able to return to playing football in the fall and running track this spring. He will receive a 4-year letter in both of these sports while maintaining a high academic performance. Upon graduation, Russell plans to attend Middle Georgia State University to obtain a degree in psychology, with plans to become a trauma therapist while working under the supervision of Middle Georgia Community Mental Health. Russell says, "I plan on becoming a trauma therapist to help anybody through their unfortunate events. I feel as if there were many people who need someone to talk to about the struggles they are faced with, but they feel like they don't have anyone to go to. I was once one of them, and I want to change that for the upcoming generation, reminding them that they are not alone in what they are going through." In closing, Russell wants to say, "I have an amazing hometown. I thank all of Dublin. I love all of you, my friends, my family, everyone. You all helped me through this situation, and I am forever grateful."
Spring is here and it's a perfect time to buy or sell your home or property, and great deals are popping up all over. So call agents Brian Howell, Charlene Lamb, Adam White, David Deeves, Jennifer Bradley, Mark Bateman, Jay Brantley, Jim Jarrett, Raina Dubberly, Yvonne Robertson, or broker George Durden today, and get the help you need when it comes to buying or selling your home or property. Log on to c21dublin.com. Call us at 272-1535 or stop by 1700 Veterans Boulevard in Dublin. Deal with the #1 realty company in Dublin and Lawrence County. Century 21 Durden Cornegay. Broker George Durden.
Hey Dublin, Lawrence County. Thanks for 25 great years here at Mellimore. Packing and shipping, of course, is what we do, but if you need that passport photo, we're here for that too. We're here Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 5:30. We're here to help you here at St. Patrick's or any time during the year. Look forward to seeing you here. Come see your friends here at Mellamore. And on behalf of everybody here at Mellamore, thanks for 25 great years. We look forward to seeing you soon.
Yeah, I'll say we definitely tried to work through who was going to have to read these. So you guys bear with me as I go through this. I'm reading the narrative for Destiny. Destiny's life started out traumatic as an infant, being swapped by her biological parents to another couple for drugs. This couple was extremely neglectful by not providing basic hygiene and nutritional care. The Department of Family and Children's Services was notified by an anonymous person, and Destiny was removed from this home. At the age of 1, she was adopted by a loving couple, and a new life of security and care began to unfold. However, at the age of 10, Destiny would find herself caught in a 4-year-long trap of sexual abuse by her adoptive father. When her adoptive mother would leave the house, her father would lock her in her bedroom for the frequent assaults on her helplessness and innocence. Living under the fear of threats of harm if she told, she bore her secret alone. It wasn't until she became pregnant in her 6th grade year that her silence had to be broken. Stepping Stone provided the support to Destiny and her mother throughout the investigation and subsequent conviction of her father. Destiny had to endure the inconceivable journey of becoming a mother to a newborn little girl during her 6th grade year of school. Destiny says, "I was scared. I felt all alone. No one should have to go through what I endured. It was hard having a baby at my age. I didn't understand anything about being a parent. I was so happy when I held her for the first time. I knew that I would protect her from anyone I thought might hurt her. She became my world. I wanted the best for her, even though I was scared that I wasn't going to be able to raise her right." With the support of her mother, Betty Jean Frost, Destiny put all of her energy into learning how to become a mom and raise a child while maintaining her academic requirements throughout her middle and high school years. Tina Hester, graduation coach at East Laurel High School, says, "I first met Destiny as her 8th grade English teacher. She was shy and would barely talk. She seemed to have difficulty trusting people and lacked self-confidence. Since those days, I have watched Destiny blossom into a beautiful young lady who advocates for herself. Destiny and her daughter ride the same school bus to school every morning. She is frequently in the counselor's office asking for help in choosing a college and a career path. She is truly an exceptionally amazing young lady." Destiny says, "If I could go back and change things, I would not. The things that happened before, like the pain and suffering that I went through, was bad, but my daughter, Annie Faith Pruitt, has shown me that I can better myself and to work hard to do what is right for her. Being a parent at a young age has taught me that I want her to be herself and make her own decisions and grow up to be an amazing woman. I hate the way she came into this world, but that will never stop me from caring for and showing my love for my daughter." Upon graduation, Destiny will travel to Warm Springs, Georgia to attend vocational training to become a certified nursing assistant. Afterwards, she will return to Dublin to attain her licensed practical nursing certification. And Annie is here with her today. And so that's it as far as the narrative. And what I want to say is, can I have the ACE candidates please come to the front and face the audience? Russell, Destiny, Leona, and Caitlin. Thank you guys and for your amazing stories. To each of the family members and special guests of these amazing students, Phil Downer says in his book that God doesn't care about our worldly attainment. He is much more interested in the concept of significance. If success is just a feeling you get when you reach your goals, then significance is making a difference in the lives of people over time. Successful men and women have come and gone, but it is the significant people who have changed the course of history. The Exchange Club would like to commend you on your decision to be significant by standing in the gap to help make a difference in the lives of these students. If the audience could please stand and help me give a huge round of support for these amazing young individuals. And in closing, to each ACE recipient, your life stories define the examples of underserved sufferings, of unrelenting perseverance, of exemplary character, and of resilient hope. Our community is blessed to have young people of your integrity and tenacity. As you go through life, the Exchange Club of Dublin and the guests of this event want you to know that we stand with you in support of your dreams and aspirations. It is the highest honor the Exchange Club presents to each of you these awards for accepting the challenge of excellence. And thanks for everything that you guys have done and for sharing your stories with us.
I'm Brian Bazemore, President and CEO of Community Bank of Dublin-Lawrence County. We would like to invite you to come by and experience a welcoming banking environment. Come by today and have a cup of coffee and let us talk with you about our many products, savings accounts, checking accounts, CDs, and our many loans. You're more than just a number to us, you're family. Come by today, Community Bank of Dublin-Lawrence County, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
Hi, I'm Brandy, and I would like to invite you to experience our newly renovated mammography suite at the Fairview Park Hospital Breast Center. Our breast center has its own dedicated entrance with a relaxing boutique-like waiting area. You can make your appointment online anytime at fairviewparkhospital.com or by calling 478-274-3919. Most appointments take 30 minutes or less, and we will have your results back to your doctor within 24 hours.
Back in 1998, a group of concerned citizens got together and started talking about the idea of bringing a child advocacy center to Dublin, Georgia. One of these people was Melanie Gunn. Melanie has been serving the Dublin area for over 30 years, and she has recently transitioned to going out to the farm and just enjoying the beauty that surrounds her. Her passion, commitment, and fighting spirit are just a few of the reasons we want to honor her today. Thank you, Melanie, for our service to the community. Thank you for taking a chance on me back about 12 years ago. And if you would come forward, we'd like to present you with this award.
Good afternoon, everyone. We are coming down to the end of our program, and I just wanted to say thank you again to our incredible speakers, Jelena and Elizabeth. It was so powerful and so beautiful, and I know we all needed to hear that and learn more. As our final Community Service Award, I wanted to take a few moments to recognize someone very near and dear to us over at Stepping Stone. So, this year, along with Melanie, I am unbelievably pleased to recognize the Honorable Donald Gillis as a recipient of Stepping Stone's 2023 Community Service Award. Oh yeah, please, Joe. He's wonderful. Please applaud him many times. To make today a little bit more special, I actually wanted to share some words that came from his daughter, Laura. Judge Gillis is an accomplished legal professional with over 40 years of experience in the field. He started his career in private law practice and worked as a state court judge of Trutland County. He has since held positions as a Superior Court judge for the Dublin Judicial Circuit, administrative judge for the 8th Judicial Circuit, and chief judge of the Superior Court for the Dublin Judicial Circuit. He is a member of the State Bar of Georgia, where he served on the Board of Governors from 2012 to 2015. He has also held leadership positions in the Dublin Judicial Circuit Bar Association, including as Secretary, Vice President, and President in 1981. He is the chairman of the Board of Directors for the First Georgia Bank, and is involved in the First United Methodist Church of Dublin, the Dublin Rotary Club, the Georgia Forestry Association, and the Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association. In addition to his career achievements, community involvement, and his many hobbies, I think that it is very important to note from his daughter that he is absolutely adored by his family. He is married to Laura, and they have 2 daughters, Dr. Julianne Gillis and Laura Lee Gillis Caswell, both of whom live in Atlanta and really wish they could have been here today. He also has a son-in-law named Jim Caswell and 3 grandchildren, Jim Gillis and Louise Caswell, my favorite part, who affectionately call him Judge. He places a high value on family and is committed to maintaining strong relationships with his loved ones. This is a testament to his character and speaks to the kind of person he is, both in and out of the courtroom. His family is undoubtedly proud of his many accomplishments and the impact he has made on this community. Now, I could not agree more with Laura when she speaks about Judge Gillis's heart when it comes to this community. Along with his distinguished service, he has also been an avid supporter of Stepping Stone, helping to initiate and oversee our circuit's first sexual assault response team as a way to ensure that victims receive the care and justice that they deserve. As a side note, I am also personally very sad not to have Judge Gillis next to me in court as we move on in the future. His insight, his guidance, and his kindness when I needed a word of advice, a template for moving forward, or just some inspiration has meant a lot to me, especially on many an impromptu visit to his office. So congratulations on a well-earned and deserved retirement, Judge Gillis, and thank you for all that you have done for our community.
Folks, I want to personally thank the Exchange Club for bringing attention to this important issue that we deal with in our community. It is something that we hope we'll never have to experience, and I certainly hope you'll never have to witness it. I can't tell you what an emotional experience it is to sit there in that judge's chair and watch these kids try to summon the intestinal fortitude to testify, oftentimes against their parent or step-parent, or certainly a loved one that is involved in that situation. And these kids really, it's almost like watching a lamb go to slaughter, but for the fact that you have folks like Stepping Stone who are there to lend them this emotional support and help them through this traumatic experience. I can't tell you how many times we've been in court and we've seen situations where kids almost failed to come to the witness stand. I mean, it's just, you can't imagine how bad it is on these kids. But like I said, Stepping Stone, with the forensic science and the forensic services that they provide, it makes this a much more, I guess you would say, you can't say pleasant, but a more endurable experience for these kids. Oftentimes, the only witness to this is the victim and the defendant. And without the forensic services and support that Stepping Stone gives them, they'd have nobody in their corner. And I really, really do want to express my appreciation to Exchange Club and to Stepping Stone for the services they provide. Judge Green and Judge Helton and I all sit up there and see these things. And I promise you, we thoroughly appreciate the services of Stepping Stone. And I do, again, thank y'all for this award. I do appreciate it. It'll be one I'll cherish and honor. And thank you again to Exchange Club. Y'all have a good day. Thank you.
You've dreamed about the perfect house, a place to call your own, and a place to not only stretch out, but to grow. Auto Owners protects your house because to you, it's home. That's simple human sense.
Ask Curry Maffett Insurance in Dublin if Auto Owners make sense for you.
Happy to help, man. I was just over there talking to myself anyway.
Wayne Kemp's Dublin Auto Sales reminds you to put your tax return to work today. If you're in the market for affordable transportation, come on down and see Wayne Kemp at Dublin Auto Sales. Getting to work, school, or around town every day requires dependable transportation, and that's what you'll find at Wayne Kemp's Dublin Auto Sales. So put that tax return to work for you this year. We offer bank rate and in-house financing, so credit is never a problem. Come in today and see TJ, Trey, Alan, Britt, or any of the friendly staff at Wayne Kemp's Dublin Auto Sales, where good deals and good people meet. Call 478-275-2010, log on to DublinAutoSalesGA.com, or stop by and see us at 606 East Jackson Street in Dublin. That's Wayne Kemp's Dublin Auto Sales.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, finishing up the banquet here today, and we've got the Community Service Award winner here with us, Miss Melanie Gunn. Miss Melanie, what a banquet it was, and how special is it for you to be able to win this award today?
Oh, it's been great. I've been a licensed clinical social worker in our area for 30 years, and I was one of the founding members of Stepping Stone back in 1999.
Yeah.
So to be here today, it's been great.
For sure, and to see Stepping Stone, obviously you're there when it started, to see what it's grown up into today, how special is that for you?
Oh, it's wonderful. It's amazing thinking it back in 1999 that it would impact the community as much as it has. And to hear people's stories here today was very powerful. And it's great just to know that all that work and all the foundation that was set all those years ago is able to help so many lives. I mean, last year they talked about 221 cases. So it's great that there's that community support.
For sure. And tell us about getting it started back in the day. How difficult was that?
Oh, it was tough times. There are many people who have long since retired that were active at that time. But in the beginning, we were working primarily out of the Department of Family Children Services. Sally Passmore was a very pivotal person until we were then donated a small house to begin to work out of many, many years ago.
Gotcha.
And that eventually led us into getting a community block grant, and it is what it is today.
No doubt. And it's just so special, and I'll let you speak on this. Just to have these people come share today, how great is that for them to be able to do that here today?
Well, as you could tell, especially when Emily was speaking today, how pivotal it was for her to be able to have a forensic interview and to have a therapist available that specialized in the trauma work. And also, one of the other people who was here today has talked about how his trauma experience, Russell standing right there is going to lead him into a future of getting into psychology for trauma.
Right, and you see that with Russell and Emily, that they're going into those fields. How great is that to have somebody like Emily and Russell go into that?
Well, right now in the state of Georgia, I understand that we're going through a lot of mental health changes.
Yes,
and doing work with trauma victims is especially a specialized thing. So not all therapists can do specialized trauma assessment stuff. So having these young people who unfortunately have been through trauma themselves then go into the field, it's fantastic. It's wonderful.
No doubt. It's been a great day here today, and Miss Melanie, congratulations on your award, and we thank you for what you do.
Thank you very much.
All right, and we've got our other winner of the Community Service Award with us. We've got Judge Gillis, and we'll start there. How much of an honor is it for you to come away with that?
It is a tremendous honor. I can't tell you how much this means to me to receive this recognition, because honestly, it's just been all part of my job.
Yeah.
Serving as Superior Court Judge here in the Dublin Judicial Circuit, but truly, these folks, Stepping Stone, have been just an integral part of the court process. They're stepping in as a voice for some of these kids that have nobody to support them in their plight, and it's just a wonderful thing to know that they appreciate what I've done, which is very little compared to what they do.
Yeah.
Good Lord. I mean, it's just, this is one of the greater resources we have in Lawrence County. And I can't tell you how much it means to the court system to have their services available.
No doubt. And how important is it that we have something like Stepping Stone here in Lawrence County?
Because truly, most of the times, these victims and the perpetrator are the only witnesses to the crime.
Right.
And thank God, Stepping Stone has these forensic services. They have the same nurse, Anthea Polton, who steps in. They can do the rape kits. They do, all sorts of testing, and they do video interviews that can be used in court. So sometimes you'll have a situation where the kid just flat cannot stand or withstand the emotional trauma of being called upon to testify in court. And we can use that video interview, the forensic interview that Stepping Stone will prepare for us, as long as the child's available as a witness in court. And so in that regard, it preserves that testimony and certainly enables the district attorney to further prosecute these people. And it's just a great service to our community.
No doubt, and just, I imagine your job would be a little bit tougher without Stepping Stone.
Oh, it would be. I mean, honestly, as I was telling the crowd today, it's a pretty emotionally traumatic thing to sit up there and watch these kids go through this and tell their stories. And we've heard them here today telling their stories, and I didn't see a person in the room that wasn't, moved by this.
Yeah, had something in your eyes.
Oh my God, yes. So they make this a process that is bearable. They make it a process that can yield good results or positive results, I should say. Otherwise, these people would get away with doing this to these children, and you just can't fathom seeing a kid grow up in that kind of circumstance.
No doubt. Just so glad we have Stepping Stone here in the community. And Judge, I thank you for what you've done here in the community as well. And congratulations on the award.
Thank you.
Yes,
I
sir.
do appreciate it.
Hometown Supply is welcoming in spring with a bigger and better selection of zero-turn mowers, blowers, string trimmers, and a complete line of power tools for the yard.
Hometown Supply has all of your lawn and garden equipment, from zero-turn mowers to string trimmers and blowers. We carry all major parts and offer service and repair, so come see us at Hometown Supply.
And remember, Hometown Supply has a large selection of new and used appliances.
And remember, if you can't do business at Hometown Supply, you just can't do business.
First Lawrence Bank invites you to experience banking at its best. Whether you have personal or business needs, we're a full-service bank big enough to handle all of your banking needs and small enough to provide you with that personal touch you've grown to expect from a community bank like First Lawrence Bank. Looking forward to your future? That's First Lawrence Bank in Dublin and Dexter, member FDIC.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're wrapping up the banquet, and now we've got the executive director of Stepping Stone with us, Miss Brooke. Miss Brooke, I'll start just asking about this event today. Tell me about getting this thing ready. How did that come about?
We've been doing this particular event for about 10 years. So every year we have a child abuse prevention luncheon during April.
Yep.
Emily Brookshire, who works at our office, did most of this.
Okay.
So we owe a tremendous thank you to her because she put all this together, and she's very organized, and she had us knowing just what to do today.
For sure. And Ms. Brooke, let's talk about our speakers today. Talk about getting them here today to, speak at the banquet.
Well, the one that spoke earlier, she actually has received services at Stepping Stone.
Okay.
She's been in counseling for probably about a year now,
Yes, ma'am.
and comes to some of our support groups, our adult survivor group. And then one of the recipients of the ACE Award, Destiny Pruitt, she also has been to Stepping Stone and received services with us. And so we are very proud of just how far she's come.
No doubt. It's just so amazing to have them here today and have some of them speak for sure. And Ms. Brooks, so how long have you been involved with Stepping Stone?
I've been involved over 11 years
Okay.
at Stepping Stone, so I've been there a while, but I enjoy what I do. I don't like to say I enjoy it because how can you enjoy what we're dealing with? But when you get to meet the children and make a difference in their lives and provide them with free services that they otherwise may not have gotten as a child, it makes it all worthwhile. So we meet a lot of great people, and we work with a lot of great people.
For sure, yeah. I mean, you don't like what brought those people there, but you like to help people.
Absolutely.
And that's what it's all about. And of course, today we're here at the luncheon, but what else is going on with Stepping Stone coming up here?
We're going to have a speak out, and that's going to be next Wednesday night at Stepping Stone.
Okay.
And that just gives people in the community a chance to speak out. If there are survivors out there that want to come and speak about what they have gone through, that's just a good chance for them to do that.
Okay, and where's that at?
It's at Stepping Stone, 382 Woodland Trails Road.
Okay, gotcha. And now, what if one of our viewers out there want to support Stepping Stone? How could they do that?
Absolutely. You can go to our website, Stepping Stone Dublin, and you can do it there. You can come by the office. However you would want to help. Not only do we often need monetary gifts, but we need things like snacks for our children that come. We need things like gowns that we use in our medical room. So there's lots of ways that you can give or even volunteer if it's not monetary.
Gotcha. Ms. Brooke, thank you so much for letting me come out to this luncheon today. We thank you for what you're doing with
We
Stepping
thank
Stone.
you for being here.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting ready to head out of here. Now we got Mr. Kelly Kennedy here with us, and the chairman of, I'll let you tell our viewers you're
Okay,
the chairman
I'm the chairman of the Child Abuse Prevention Committee and the ACE Award Committee of the Exchange Club of Dublin.
Okay, let's talk about the ACE Award,
Okay.
Mr. Kennedy. So tell me about, the schools nominate and then the process of selecting and things like that.
The schools can nominate one individual from their school, and they submit that nominee to our committee. And these are students that have had to overcome exceptional odds or circumstances and still be eligible to graduate. Usually it's things out of their control that they have to deal with. And a lot of times, like we heard the examples of today, a lot of times it's various forms of child abuse or some kind of trauma that's happened in their family. And so anyway, we get the committee together and we review the applications. Then we interview the students because there's always a lot of gaps that aren't included in those narratives. And then that helps us to come up with a winner. All four of them are actually winners because they're their school's nominee. But we have to pick one that's going to be our representative to our state competition. This year was unique because we chose two of them. It was just too difficult to try to decide of those two which one's life had the most trauma or difficulties to overcome. So we're just nominating both of those to go to the state.
For sure. And tell me about that decision, because have you ever sent two before?
Never have.
Okay, so tell me about that, just deciding we're going to do two this year.
Well, like I said, those two students came from, their situations are uniquely different, but they're extremely traumatic. Russell Graham having been shot by his stepfather and survived 8 shots, and then surgery and all the things he went through, and then Destiny Pruitt, who was a victim of sexual abuse by her stepfather when she was 10, became pregnant in the 6th grade, and had to deliver and raise a child on her own. Not on her own. Her mother's still involved with her, but anyway, it's just. Those are tragedies of life that most people around us don't even understand.
No doubt.
We can't even comprehend what they've had to deal with. So we submit those to the state level, and their committee will decide who on the state level wins.
Sure.
Last year, our nominee was from West Lawrence, and she won our local level. Then she won the state level, and then she won the national level.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
So we all went up to the national convention in Greenville, South Carolina last year in the summer, and she was the winner for the whole nation. We've had 2 national winners in recent years.
Okay, wow, gotcha.
And so, it's just, we're honored to be able to do this for these students because like the essay or the award says, that these are students that often are unnoticed. They cope so well with what they've been dealing with that they just kind of fly under the radar.
Right.
And so, for a counselor or a committee in their school that organizes this or makes a decision, they have to seek out these students and make that nomination. So it blesses us all
But just to be able to stand up here today and share their stories was just phenomenal.
Yeah, and look, I can only imagine, you know, like you say, they've gone through so much and you wouldn't hardly know it. It's just, I'm just glad we get to honor them here today.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Right.
You know,
And it gives them a voice, you know,
Right.
and all this crowd that was here today. Fantastic group of people.
No doubt, yeah.
It was good. And I think we're going to move it back to the First Baptist Family Center next year because when the train comes by in the middle of
stop the program.
it had to put a pause on things, but it was a great day.
It was, yeah. Look, I'm glad.
Is this your first one?
Yeah, this is my first one.
Oh,
I'm glad you gave me the call this morning to come on out.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you letting me be here, and wherever it's at next year, I look forward to being there.
Yeah,
So thank
well,
you, Mr.
Thank
Kelly.
you.
Yes,
I
sir.
appreciate it.